We all seem to be obsessed with keeping things light these days, right? I mean, there's light ice cream, light salad dressing, light beer. Well, maybe we don't love the light beer so much. But there's one situation where light is not always the best thing, and I'm talking about light or lightweight cameras. Now, if you own one of these small action cameras and you're having a difficult time balancing it on your Roxant Pro, well, you're in luck, because that's the topic we're covering on this episode of Otis Originals.
This episode of Otis Originals is sponsored by Roxant. Cool gear for creative people.
Everywhere you look today, it seems that smaller is better. And that's mostly true, unless you're trying to balance a very small camera on your Roxant stabilizer. And the reason you're having trouble balancing it is because manual stabilizers, like the Roxant Pro, need at least a minimal amount of camera weight up top to balance the necessary bottom counterweight. It's all about physics. If you're using a small action camera, like a GoPro or perhaps a very small point and shoot, or even a small smartphone, it just doesn't have enough mass or weight to balance the entire rig properly. Now you'll notice that even with all the bottom counterweights removed, I can sometimes still have trouble getting that 2-second drop time, which is so crucial to proper balance. And if you don't know what drop time is or why it's important, please watch my balancing tutorial first. I'll put up a link at the end of this video. And with all that said, today I'm going to show you several different options to help you increase your camera's weight and get you balanced. The first option is using a small 1/4-inch thread ball head adapter to mount your camera to your Roxant Pro. You simply screw it into the base of your camera, and then you attach the adapter to your Roxant stabilizer using the mounting screw. Now these adapters are readily available online for just a few dollars, and they'll help your balance in a couple of different ways. The first way is that these adapters actually have some weight to them, about 1/10 of a pound or more. And since we're trying to make the top half of the stabilizer heavier, well, that's a good start. The other way that it helps is it raises the camera a little higher. And if you've watched my tutorial on balancing your Roxant Pro, you'll remember that by raising the camera, we're in essence moving the weight, the camera, further away from the fulcrum point, therefore making that end of the stabilizer seem heavier than it was before. Science! The next option is quite easy, and it can be found at your local hardware store. You simply purchase a 1-inch long 3/8 16 bolt and a handful of 1.5-inch fender washers, maybe 10 to 15 total, more or less depending on your camera's weight. Slide the washers over the bolt and then screw the bolt into the bottom of the top stage, where you would normally screw in your handle. But screw it into the hole that's closest to the rear of the stabilizer, leaving the front holes available for balancing, and mount your camera more towards the center or the front of the stabilizer. Now these washers will add just enough weight to the top of the stabilizer, allowing you to balance that lightweight camera. Here's an easy option, and it works just as well as any other modification. Rolled coins. Did you know a roll of pennies weighs almost 1/3 of a pound, and a roll of quarters weighs almost 1/2 a pound? You just take your coin roll and tape it here, between the two flat sections of the top stage. Now this will make the top half of the stabilizer heavier, which will allow you to use at least the smallest weight on the bottom. Heck, you could even use a rock and some bubble gum in an emergency. Anything that has weight and won't shift around on the stabilizer. This next solution does double duty. Now we use GoPro's sometimes to shoot stunts and car crashes on TV shows or in movies, and in order to protect our cameras we use what's called a crash housing, because it helps protect the camera in the event of a crash or an accident. You can find them online or in some camera supply stores for between $20 to $40. It's basically a heavy-duty aluminum housing that surrounds the camera and keeps it safe. But it also has some weight to it, about 1/4 to 1/3 of a pound, so in addition to protecting your GoPro, it makes the camera heavier, which will allow you to get a proper balance. Plus it looks pretty cool. Just make sure that the housing you order will fit your specific make and model of camera. Here's an option you may not be aware of. It's called a camera Cheeseplate, and it's used for mounting cameras and accessories in various positions. It's called the Cheeseplate because, well, basically it looks like a piece of Swiss cheese with all those holes in it. You can find them in various sizes and prices, ranging from $10 to more than $50. But all you really need is a small one that has a little bit of mass to it, since you're using it as additional camera weight up top. You simply attach your camera using a 1/4-20 camera screw, and then you attach the cheese plate with your camera to the top of your Roxant Pro using the regular mounting screw. Now you should have enough total weight up top to be able to properly balance your stabilizer. Or you could also use a quick release system. You just attach the quick release base to the top of the stabilizer, attach the quick release plate to the bottom of your camera, then slide the camera and the quick release plate into the base and screw it down. Voila, instant extra camera weight. This final option is one of my favorites because I think it looks the cleanest of all of them. And it's a middle price range for all of these solutions, around $10 to $12 total. Now, I'm a big fan of using things for purposes other than what they were intended for. And when I found these items online, I thought they'd make excellent weights. And I'll put links to the items down below in the video description section. They're called thread adapters, and they allow you to go from 1/4 inch to 3/8 inch and back again. But the best part is that they're somewhat heavy and they can screw directly onto your Roxant Pro. The first is a steel disc. It's called a stainless steel bushing adapter. Now, it was designed to adapt a 1/4 inch male thread camera tripod mount to a 3/8 inch female thread. It has a large diameter with knurled edges, and it makes it easy to grip for screwing on or off. The second part is actually 2 pieces that come in one package, and they're called brass thread adapters. Now, one piece adapts from 3/8 inch to 1/4 inch, and the other goes from 1/4 inch to 3/8 of an inch. So take the one that has the 1/4 inch top thread and screw that into the bottom of your camera, or into your threaded camera mount if you're using a GoPro or a smartphone adapter. Next, take the stainless steel adapter and screw that directly into the bottom of the brass adapter. Now your camera weighs significantly more than before, and you can simply attach the whole thing to the top of your Roxant stabilizer using the mounting screw. You can also take the leftover brass thread adapter and screw it into one of the 3/8 inch holes in the bottom of the top stage. Now, with the extra weight of these thread adapters, you should have no problem balancing your lightweight camera. And as an added bonus, you can also use these on the bottom of the stabilizer to help balance a heavier camera. But that's a whole other episode. There you go. Several different solutions for balancing your lightweight camera on your new Roxant Pro stabilizer. Now, if you're still having balance problems after trying these options, please drop me a line down below in the comments section. Or if you found your own solution to balancing your lightweight camera, I'd love to hear from you so we can share it with our community. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, share, and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next time for more Otis Originals. And cut. Hello? Why, yes, I'd love to have a more stable income working at home. Oh, speaking of stable, I was just teaching everyone how to balance a stabilizer. Now, did you know that because of physics, a larger mass is more stable than a smaller mass? And that if you... Hello? Hello? Works every time.